Hey everyone, I wanted to share with you some tips I've used throughout the years of being an artist when working with colors. We need to put colors together that we like. What are we in the mood for? Is this one too shiny? Is this one too metallic-y? Things like that. What colors will work good together? So I've got a little tip that kind of helps out the process. It doesn't help eliminate all your questions, but it kind of helps the process a little bit of auditioning. So hang in with me for just a little while, and hopefully this will make some sense and help. Hey, I wanted to show you some stashes of paint that I have. Of course, this is also kind of putting out in public how many paints I actually do have, but that's okay. So these are Lumiere paints, and they're very pearly, metallic-y kind of color. It's an acrylic-based paint. And what I have done, and this is a very simple tip, is I put the color on the cap. And there's a good reason for that. These particular colors, and I think this kind of started it, well, no, actually it started back with acrylic paints in general. But these in particular, sometimes the outside of the color doesn't really show what the inside of it actually looks like once it's, or I should say once the paint is actually dried, what it will look like. I love, 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 love these paints. And yes, you can use these with resin as well. But here, let me give you a good example with this. Okay, these are some of their interference colors. And I know interference is a buzzword that's going around in resin art right now, and some people don't understand, and maybe this will help out. This one in particular is called a highlight violet. But what it does is it gives a highlight of violet in the color, but it almost comes off as transparent. But you couldn't tell that by just looking at the jar. It would look clear, cream in color. But when it's painted, it looks violet. So here's another really good example. This is a violet, halo violet gold. Comes off very strong as a violet color, but you shift the light a little bit and you can get a strong gold casting to it. So this is really important information when I go to audition colors. Let me show you some other ones that I do. This is my acrylic paints. Now I don't do it with all of them, but I will do it with some. It also is a really quick indicator of what colors they actually are. Like if I want to do some ocean colors, I can see really quickly, whoops, I'm trying to steer this around right, really quickly the colors that might be interesting to me. Neon sometimes don't come off as neon on the top. That's probably one of the few exceptions. But here are some of my resin colors here. And this has a big effect on how it looks. And you can see really quickly on which ones are going towards the opaque, which ones are going towards transparent, which ones are getting really strong metallic sheen to it. So a lot of these are transparent in here. This one happens to have a kind of a pearlescent to it. Very subtle, very rich, but it's a very helpful technique to use. So let me show you how to apply this to choosing some colors. So let's just say I want to do a purple piece, which I use a lot of purples, but I also want to have some golds with it as well. So I'm going to just lay out some purple right now, but I'm going to get a few golds because sometimes it's part of the process. Okay, what kind of golds am I going to use here? All right, let me move this guy over a little bit to get a little bit more room here. All right, what kind of golds are we interested in? We have some light shimmers. Get some golds out of another area here real quick. So right off the bat, you can see really quickly on that each of these golds have a different type of property to it. All right, this is a bright gold by Just Resin here. This one here is a rich gold. So let me try and get both of these colors together. This one has a little bit of a darker brassier kind of color to it than this one does. Now, which one am I interested in? Or do I want something that has a little bit more of a shimmer to it? This one is kind of an in-between color. Or do I just want to go for just some good old-fashioned gold bling? This tells me really quickly on what I want. So, you know, I might go for, let's put this guy together with this guy, and then maybe I want a lighter purple. You know, lighter purples can vary. I mean, just those two right there. This one shows off very transparent properties to it. This one has very opaque properties to it. So I might want, I want a little opaque here. And maybe I want to add a little bit of gold sparkle with this guy. And I could do that, and see there? I've got my canvas. So laying out a few pieces really quickly on with the colors on top tell me real fast what colors I'm really dealing with. So that's why I like putting the colors on the top of the jars or bottles. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like if you liked it, but definitely hit the bell so you get notified whenever I put a video up. Have fun arting. Bye.